The veil of thundering smoke beneath the beauty, the falls, feed. A live TikTok video glitches into existence, capturing the final moments of American backpacker Lila Hayes at Devil's Pool, a notorious ledge at Victoria Falls. Lila, her face half swallowed by the thickening mist, laughs into the roaring Zambezi as she teeters on the edge. Guys, the locals say the mist eats people. Oh my God, what's that behind me? She cries before the feed dissolves into static. In that last frame, a shadow emerges from the churning water, a hand slick with algae and bone reaching out to drag her beneath the surface. Mbeki, a seasoned Zimbabwean tour guide and descendant of the Toka-Leya tribe, had long been haunted by the fall's secrets. Her grandmother vanished in the 1970s, swallowed by the same ferocious waters, leaving behind whispered legends of Nyami Nyami, the ancient serpent god betrayed by colonial dam builders. As the morning mist curled like damp fingers around the towering cascade, Kaya's heart pounded with dread. She had come to guide a small group of tourists, but destiny had other plans. That afternoon, Kaya's worst fears crystallized when she discovered a body near the water's edge. It was Ryan, Lila's boyfriend, his lifeless form contorted in an expression of abject terror. His skin was ashen, and his lungs seemed to be choked with riverweed. The most gruesome detail, however, was the message scrawled across his chest. "She is watching," etched in clusters of writhing leeches that glistened in the dim light. His GoPro, recovered from his clenched hand, revealed more horror. Distorted underwater footage of Lila's face pressed against the lens, eyes wide and mouth moving in a silent plea, mouthing the words, "She's coming up the river." Night fell like a suffocating shroud. The relentless roar of the falls transformed into a mournful wail, a woman's cry echoing through the spray. In the camp nearby, Dr. Evan Cole, a smug British geologist fixated on the geological anomalies of Victoria Falls, dismissed Kaya's warnings. His arrogance was shattered when his drilling team struck something unnerving, a human skull embedded in the ancient rock behind the waterfall. Soon after, his team's tents were found abandoned, drenched in a mucus-like slime that reeked of rotting fish. The air trembled with the sound of guttural Zulu chanting, as if the falls themselves were speaking in a forgotten tongue. Desperate for answers, Kaya ventured into a hidden labyrinth behind the cascade, a cave system known as the Veil, accessible only when the water receded. The stench of decay mingled with damp stone as she traced the walls, her torchlight revealing primitive tribal carvings. Each etching depicted a monstrous deity, a figure that was both woman and crocodile, with a skull fused to a human spine, dripping with black algae. The legends were true. The colonial dam had not angered Nyami Nyami. It had freed her. Before Kaya could escape, she encountered a figure that chilled her blood. Dr. Cole reappeared, his once proud demeanor replaced by a ghastly transformation. His skin had turned translucent, revealing pulsating veins beneath, and thin, ragged gills fluttered on his neck as he rasped in a voice not entirely his own. "She's remaking us. We're her offerings now." Behind him, emerging from the swirling depths of the Zambezi, moved the drowned ones, Nyami Nyami's cursed worshippers. Their bloated bodies, encrusted with eel-like scales, shuffled forward with vacant, fish-like eyes and tongues that split into sinuous tails. They herded the remaining survivors like cattle, driving them toward the treacherous Devil's Pool. In a moment of bone-crushing revelation, Kaya learned the horrifying truth. Her grandmother had not been lost by chance. She had been sacrificed to appease Nyami Nyami, bound by blood to the ancient deity. The old tribal prophecies spoke of a time when the bloodline would be forced to feed the vengeful god, or else the entire nation would be submerged under a deluge of cursed water. This was the price of broken promises made long ago. Determined to break the cycle, Kaya plunged back into the veil, seeking to confront the monstrous force that had haunted her family for generations. In the deepest chamber of the cave, illuminated by eerie phosphorescence, stood Nyami Nyami herself. The creature was a colossal crocodile, its eyes burning with a malevolent intelligence. But what froze Kaya's blood was the visage on its scaled snout. The familiar, sorrowful face of her grandmother, twisted into a mask of eternal torment. "You are my blood," the entity hissed, its voice a grotesque blend of ancient dialects and the gurgle of rushing water. "Choose, drown the world, or drown them." The weight of her ancestors' guilt pressed upon Kaya, each heartbeat a countdown to catastrophe. The deity's eyes promised oblivion, its very existence a challenge to the fragile boundary between life and death. "You are my blood," the entity hissed, its voice a grotesque blend of ancient dialects and the gurgle of rushing water. "Choose, drown the world, or drown them." The weight of her ancestors' guilt pressed upon Kaya, each heartbeat a countdown to catastrophe. The deity's eyes promised oblivion, its very existence a challenge to the fragile boundary between life and death. In a desperate bid to avert the impending flood, Kaya raced back to the remnants of the colonial dam, a structure she knew was the key to Nyami Nyami's unholy release. Amid the deafening roar of the river and the relentless, chant-like sound of the falls, she summoned every ounce of courage. With a chisel and hammer pilfered from the wreckage, she began to shatter the dam's foundation. Each blow echoed like a war cry against an ancient curse. As the structure crumbled, the power that had sustained the entity waned. The drowned ones, their forms unhinging, began to dissolve into a sludge of water and decay, their mournful voices fading into silence. The torrent of the falls roared in fury as the unleashed waters reclaimed the dam, sealing Nyami Nyami once more within the labyrinthine depths of the veil. Exhausted but resolute, Kaya staggered from the collapsing ruin, the dark legacy of her bloodline finally at rest. Yet, as dawn broke over Victoria Falls, a lingering terror remained. Back home in the quiet anonymity of her apartment, Kaya attempted to reclaim normalcy. In the solitude of a steaming shower, as she closed her eyes against the cascade of water, a chilling sensation crawled along her ankle. When she opened her eyes, the mirror reflected not her own, but a glimpse of a scaled hand, slick, reptilian, and unmistakably real, before the screen of her mind cut to black with a sickening wet snap. In that final, surreal moment, the echoes of the falls whispered a dire truth. You don't visit Victoria Falls. It visits you.